Every now and then, there's a game that just completely captures my attention. Right now, that game is Dark and Darker. It's a extraction shooter from a Korean development team called IRONMACE. Currently has 100,000 players on Steam, and it is brilliant. This isn't your typical extraction shooter, really. This is something a little bit different. The premise is the same. You go in, you try and get loot, and then you have to leave. Except this isn't Tarkov, there aren't machine guns, there aren't camouflage people in bushes. These are dark, tiny corridors full of goblins and skeletons that you can either tackle on your own or with a team. We'll go into that a little bit more in a minute. But first, I think we need to go back in time quite a long way to try and capture the aesthetic that Dark and Darker is going for. This is Arx Fatalis. It's a 2002 action RPG developed by Arcane Studios, the same team that later brought you Dishonored and Thief. Even Thief, early Thief games kind of look like Dark and Darker, but that's the point that I'm trying to make here, is that this style is nostalgic. It takes you back to a different era. It has the same janky combat, same charged up attacks, even the goblin design. You can see a little glimpse of it in this trailer. It looks similar to what you find in Dark and Darker. What's interesting really for me about this as well is that you can see that the developers behind Dark and Darker are going to start introducing more complex things into the game. I know that we're getting quests, crafting is already there, you've got ores, and when you look at a game like Arx Fatalis that had all these puzzles, boss fights, and I just feel like there's a lot of potential behind Dark and Darker that will start to unlock kind of more of these classic mechanics that we've come to expect from games like this. Obviously with the entire new premise of an extraction shooter thrown over the top. The premise of Dark and Darker is really straightforward. You either play alone, go solo, there's a new solo mode that was added during this February playtest, or you go along with 2 other players in a 3-man team. Each player chooses a different class, we'll go into that in a second. And the aim of the game is to extract, to go into the dungeon, loot, then escape. You die, you lose everything you're carrying, and you'll die all the time. I mean, pretty much fucking constantly. Even so, even though you are dying several times an hour, it is a deeply compelling game. And if all you've seen are these videos, gameplay videos and trailers and whatever, don't be put off by the jank combat, because although it does look jank, there's a lot of finesse and nuance to how the combat actually works in the game. You can't really get a feel to it until you're actually swinging the halberd or the spear or shooting the bow. Here's a little example of being completely overwhelmed by a massive swarm of goblins. Bad guy in front of me. Wizard. Oh my god, he's brought the entire Goblin Armed Forces to me. Oh my god. That is a lot of bad guys. And I'm stuck in a hole. Wizard, you bastard! What have you done to me? Yes, of course you're dead. And so am I! You brought the entire... Oh my god. So many bad guys. Jesus. There are 6 classes in total in Dark and Darker. You have the Cleric, the Fighter, the Ranger, the Barbarian, Wizard, and the Rogue. Kind of your classic Dungeons and Dragons style characters. You can see here just sort of the class setup, how it works in the game. You've obviously got skills, your perks, it's kind of classic RPG stuff. Nothing too special, but what I'm really interested in is how viable every class in the game feels. The balancing is really good. Each class feels like it can really excel, both in solo and group play. Even the Cleric, your classic healer, can drink a bunch of booze, get really drunk, and start storming through crowds of people. The Barbarian swings their axe all over the place. The Ranger is difficult, tricky to use, but if you've got the aim, you can take people's heads off. The Rogue is sneaky, poison daggers, you know. There's a real range of different playstyles. Everything feels viable. Really good. And very great for the future of the game if the developer can keep up this kind of balance between the classes. Dark and Darker's gameplay loop is where the game really shines. It's an extraction shooter and everything that entails, which basically means you go in, you loot, you try and get as much loot as you can, and then you escape, and your heart's thumping by time. Unlike other games like Escape from Tarkov, which I have mentioned several times and probably will several more times before the end of the video, it can take 10 minutes to get into a game, and then you might just get shot in the head from someone in a tower several hundred meters away. In Dark and Darker, you can be in and out of an entire lobby, an entire game session in 10 minutes, with loot ready to go for another run. If you die, and I have to reiterate, you will die many, many times in this game, you are back in a game within seconds, really. Another great thing about it is that you always start with a set of default gear. The spawns are random. You might make friends whilst you're playing, or you might die 6 times in a row to a fighter who's wearing a massive bucket on the head and got a huge spear. Can't even touch them. The idea is that you collect loot. It's like goblets and rings and other rare items, from green items, blue items, legendary items. You defeat bosses, and then you sell that to the merchants, a bit like Tarkov. You can buy new gear on the player marketplace. Once you're kind of stacked and you've got enough gold to keep yourself supplied with potions and bandages, you up the ante. You start gambling with your money. You pay to enter the dungeons and you get better loot. This high roller mentality gameplay is intense. I know that you're just looking at pixels on a screen, but these kind of games convince you that this is important. And it's all because of the amount of time you've invested into acquiring that gear. Things can get really intense. Here's a couple of examples. Okay, a little bit of spider parkour. Almost killed by the spiders. Die! Oh, it's a red one. Spider. Oh my. Okay, well, I'm pretty low on HP. Maybe I can sneak out. There's a whole team over there. Damn it. Whole team of guys. Wonder if I can sneak past them. I doubt it. I'm gonna try though. Maybe there's a portal through here. Oh Jesus. I literally can't go that way. That would be really nice to get out of here with. Is that a portal? Literally there. They took it. I can sneak it. I'm gonna sneak it. Yes, let's go. I stuck out of there. That's amazing. Cheers, guys. Lots of people have talked about how the combat in Dark and Darker is slow and janky, and I've got to agree. Especially when you're watching on a screen, it really just doesn't do it justice. But believe me, there is a lot to love about the slow, methodical, thwacking, chunky weapons in Dark and Dark. Weapons hit hard, headshots matter. Each class has a range of different weapons to use, and most of them feel impactful. For the most part, Dark and Darker is pretty balanced, like we were talking about with the classes. No one class really stands out, and that kind of applies to the weapons. So Dagger can be quick and fast and poison you. Barbarian's Axe can kill you in 2 hits to the head, whereas a Ranger could be 10 meters away from you before you can get a single hit on them. I think one of the best ways for you to understand how fun the combat can be is to show you one of my favourite moments so far from this playtest. Okay. Hello, mate. Whoa, so much loot down there. These big... Whoa! Oh my god, the jump scare. Hello, come on. Come on. Yeah, that's it. Ah, you're dead, mate. Come at me like that. Death skull. Hello. Oh, there's more than one of you. Drink this potion. Close the door again. This is crazy. Oh, I got hit. Kill him! This is so intense. Oh, let's go. Okay. 2 kills in the bucket. Bandages too. That's nice. Hunting trap. Campfire kit. In conclusion, Dark and Darker is a strange kind of game. It really is. It's one that shouldn't be as popular as it is. And hopefully this video has gone some way to kind of explain why I think it is doing so well. Because it is janky, it is slow, but it has nailed the fundamentals of the extraction shooter as a genre perfectly. It's well balanced, the gameplay loop is quick and fun, you can meet people with the new VoIP that they've just added, and there is so much potential for the future of the game. I'm really excited to see what happens with it later this year when it's set to release. We might even get an early access period, maybe in the middle of the year. We have to wait and see how this playtest goes. I recommend that you go and jump into this if you haven't played it yet. Just give it a go. It really is much better than it looks.